Welcome. In this course, we'll turn enterprise architecture from theory into workplace practice. You'll connect strategy to delivery, apply TOGAF ADM, and make defensible decisions across Azure, AI, security, governance, data, and business value. We'll build that capability step by step. Enterprise architecture and TOGAF foundations first, then ADM practice, Azure AI architecture, security, governance, migration planning, and a final capstone. Expect about 35 to 45 focused learning hours depending on how deeply you practice the scenarios and project work. Think of the course as a path from strategy to defensible delivery. We begin with the architecture mindset, why enterprise architecture exists, and how TOGAF brings structure to complex change. From there, we move through the ADM, turning vision into target architectures and implementation plans. Then we apply the method to Azure AI, including cloud foundations, data, applications, integration, security, and governance. The goal is not memorization, it is decision quality. By the end, you will have practiced the reasoning, artifacts, and review discipline needed to explain, defend, and deliver an enterprise-ready AI architecture. Use this course in the way that best matches your experience. If you are newer, move sequentially and give the TOGAF language, ADM phases, and architecture domains time to settle. If you are intermediate, still follow the path, but slow down around ADM, governance, Azure AI, security, and the case study decisions. If you are advanced, treat the material as scenario practice. Test your judgment, trade-offs, and review board readiness. Throughout the course, keep a glossary, capture decision notes, schedule focused study time, and ask questions with context and constraints. Enterprise architecture helps close a common gap. Leaders set a strategy, but teams must turn it into real, coordinated change. EA provides the bridge. It connects business capabilities, data, applications, technology, security, governance, and roadmaps, so delivery is not random or disconnected. Before we study TOGAF techniques, keep one question in mind. How do we make strategic intent coherent, governed, and deliverable? Complexity does not manage itself. When teams make decisions independently, systems get duplicated, data ownership becomes unclear, security controls vary, and change becomes expensive because dependencies are hard to see. EA brings those moving parts into a shared frame. It connects strategy to capabilities, target states, roadmaps, standards, and governance. The goal is not documentation for its own sake. The goal is better decisions: what to change, what to reuse, what to retire, and how to reduce risk while transformation moves forward. Think of enterprise architecture as the organization's connective tissue. Strategy defines where the enterprise wants to go. Capabilities and the operating model describe what it must do and how work actually happens. Data, applications, and technology provide the information and platforms that make that work possible. Security, governance, and delivery keep change controlled, safe, and executable. The value of EA is not owning all these areas. It is creating a shared language across them, so decisions made in one project do not accidentally create cost, risk, duplication, or complexity for the whole enterprise. Here is how that connection works in practice. A strategy such as improving knowledge access with AI first becomes a set of business capabilities, like discovery, analytics, collaboration, and decision support. The architecture vision clarifies scope, stakeholders, value, constraints, and outcomes. Target architecture then turns that vision into business, data, application, and technology designs. From there, the roadmap sequences work packages and dependencies. Delivery governance keeps teams aligned through standards, reviews, and change control. This flow helps leaders decide what should change, what must be protected, and what to build now versus later. Enterprise architecture and solution architecture are not competing roles. They answer different questions. Enterprise architecture looks across the organization: capabilities, platforms, data, standards, risk, and long-term direction. It asks whether we are investing in the right things in a consistent way. Solution architecture works closer to delivery. It turns that guidance into a design for a specific product, system, integration, or workload. It asks how this solution will actually work. The strongest teams connect both. Enterprise direction shapes solutions, and solution feedback improves enterprise guidance. TOGAF gives us a shared map by separating architecture into 4 domains while keeping them connected. Business architecture describes what the enterprise is trying to achieve: capabilities, value streams, roles, and policies. Data architecture defines the information those capabilities depend on, including ownership, quality, flows, and governance. Application architecture covers the systems, services, APIs, and AI-enabled experiences that use that data. Technology architecture provides the cloud platforms, identity, networks, compute, storage, and monitoring underneath. The key point is dependency. A change in one domain affects the others, so security and governance must cut across everything. AI and cloud transformation can move quickly, but speed without structure creates duplicated platforms, unmanaged experiments, and new risk. Enterprise architecture provides the operating model for scaling responsibly. It defines reusable patterns for data, identity, integration, deployment, monitoring, and cloud landing zones. It connects AI use cases to business capabilities and measurable outcomes. It also clarifies ownership of data, models, services, and operations. Most importantly, architecture turns hard questions into governed decisions. What data is safe? Who can access it? How models are controlled? And how prototypes become production-ready solutions. Architecture turns a business need into a delivery decision through guardrails. Principles give durable guidance, such as protecting data based on sensitivity. Standards and reference patterns translate that guidance into approved choices, like using a common identity platform or a hub-spoke network model. The solution design then has a clear starting point, instead of reinventing every decision. Governance reviews the design for security, compliance, cost, and strategic fit. If an exception is needed, it loops back for discussion. Done well, governance does not slow teams down. It helps them move faster with confidence. To make TOGAF concrete, we'll use one running scenario: an enterprise building a secure AI platform on Azure for knowledge discovery, analytics, and decision support. The challenge is not just choosing services. It is aligning stakeholders, data, identity, governance, privacy, and scaling plans into one architecture direction. As we work through the scenario, connect each TOGAF activity to practical Azure decisions, from landing zones and AI services to security reviews and implementation governance. Good enterprise architecture shows up in better decisions. A strong decision traces back to business goals, balances competing concerns, reuses proven patterns, meets governance expectations, and remains practical to deliver. The Azure AI example brings this together. One governed platform pattern helps teams move faster, apply consistent security, manage costs, and maintain responsible oversight as adoption grows. You now have the foundation for enterprise architecture thinking. EA connects strategy to governed execution across business, data, application, and technology domains. It sets direction and target states, while solution architecture turns that guidance into specific designs. For cloud and AI, this means stronger guardrails, less duplication, better decisions, and scalable change. Next, we move into the TOGAF standard overview.